am Zulaitu Hamid. Coming up in this edition, the newly constituted Board of Trustees, SLBC, holds maiden meeting with management and staff of the corporation. Commissioner Bilbel George Will orders the prosecution to invite policymakers of the Sierra Leone Commercial Bank to the commissions of inquiry, and a 3-day session on Sierra Leone youth entrepreneurship and employment project starts at the National Youth Commission Conference Hall. All these stories and more lined up in this edition of the news. Stay with us. The newly constituted Board of Trustees of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation has held its maiden meeting with management and staff of the corporation. The board comprises representatives from the Bar Association, Council of Paramount Chiefs, National Youth Commission, Women's Group, Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, and the University of Sierra Leone. Salma Taba reports.
This meeting comes at a time when the public service broadcaster is positioning itself to meet the global digital migration in broadcasting. The board is headed by one-time Director General of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Service, Gina Banda Thomas, who worked for more than 35 years as a broadcaster. The meeting was to familiarize themselves with the operations of the public service broadcaster and discuss with staff issues affecting the smooth progress of the corporation. The Director General, Joseph Kapua, gave a status report on the institution to the board and staff in which he explained challenges and successes. He noted that since he assumed office, he has worked assiduously to improve on the output of the SLBC and have also signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Energy for effective power supply to the public service broadcaster, improve revenue generation strategies, and obtain title deeds as a result of the massive encroachment on SLBC lands nationwide, and is networking with various institutions to partner with the SLBC for support. He said he has been able to settle huge debts accrued by previous management of the corporation on fuel supply. Mr. Gbenda Kapua spoke on the numerous challenges facing the corporation. Key among he noted is the lack of funding, which has greatly affected the output of the institution, and that since the state broadcaster was transformed to a public service, it has not received a single cent from government at subvention, even though the SLBC Act of 2009 makes provision for that.
We can't move this place from point A to point B if we don't have funds. There is no way. You can't operate on one camera at the commission of where you have 3 rooms. There is no way you can cover events in Bo and Kema or mobile phones. It's not possible. So we need money, no 2 ways about it. Government, I have approached them, and I can tell you, yes, we've made a few requests. They'll tell you, go, write, this thing, make requests and the like. You know, but their trend is a little slower. You don't write today and you expect today. Alhaji has done a lot of requests when it comes to these technical areas or issues or equipment. But the Ministry of Information will always say, okay, we'll follow that up with the Ministry of Finance. We hope that will be realized, and I'm sure they will do that. When is the question? But we will get there. But so far, and mark me on record, so far, when it comes to funding, when it comes to funds and like the Commission, we said, we need money, we need people to be fed. What about those operating from the control room? What about those writing the news? Generals, they're all parts. It's not only the crew that goes there. There are other people who do all these things. So what is it about them? How do we do that? So we made some requests that is yet to be realized, but we hope, I trust this government by the way, we will get that.
However, informed the board and staff that this is the first time in the history of the corporation government has approved 1.5 billion leones as subvention for the financial year 2019. The institution, he went on, had earlier presented a budget of over 31 billion for huge capital development project that could see a tangible turnaround of the institution, which has not been approved, but however expressed optimism that government is willing to support once resources are available. Mr. Kapwa spoke of plans to improve the regional stations and that he is in discussions with SALCAP for support. The Director General said since he assumed office, he has been very proactive to give a facelift to the news and current affairs programs on radio and television, which has been a serious concern to the public. Board Chairperson Gina Banda Thomas said as board members, they were happy to meet with staff to discuss issues affecting the smooth running of the SLBC.
We have come as a board to start a kind of communication process whereby you talk, we listen, we talk, you listen, so that we can come to an agreement. I want to make one thing clear. If you know you have good intentions for this institution, SLBC, and you want to make complaints or you want to make observations or you want to record anything about the DG or anything that will bring progress, bring it to the board. If you want to just come and just whisper bad things that will infuriate people, don't come to the board. Because you have to come to the board with constructive criticism. You say, like, for instance, they are doing this wrong, but I think they should do so and so and so to get to so and so and so. That way, you have criticized, but you have provided a solution and not just empty talk. We're not here to back one person against the other. And for God's sake, the person that has been appointed head has been appointed head. You cannot do anything about it.
She listed several issues the management should look at, including the training of staff, noting that improvement should be seen on program presentation, production, news writing, and announcement of obituaries and public notices. She called on staff to work closely with the board by bringing out issues to move the institution, but cautioned that it must be done constructively. Mrs. Thomas noted that the concerns raised by the Director General will be looked into swiftly by sourcing funding from organizations and the government. She added that as board members, they want to rebrand the public service broadcaster to meet the expectations of the public. The board chair challenged the SLBC to take the lead in broadcasting by repositioning itself as the pride of Sierra Leone. Staff at the meeting raised concerns on the lack of equipment, the need to give facelift to the news and current affairs units, the commercials and engineering units, and for a nationwide radio and television coverage. SLBC News, Salma Tabar reporting.
Commissioner Biobel George Will has ordered the prosecution to invite the Sierra Leone Commercial Bank to the commissions of inquiry. This follows the cross-examination of the Commission Witness 12, Risk Officer, Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, Abdul Rahim Mujtaba. Unsecured loan of over 7,800 million loans by politically exposed persons has been written as bad debt by the Sierra Leone Commercial Bank. Princess Gibson was at Commission 64, presided over by Commissioner Biobel George Will.
Counsel Adi Macaulay, Commission Witness 12, Risk Officer, Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, was asked to define politically exposed persons, PEPs, a term that has been frequently used by the bank during the Commission of Inquiry.
Elected to public office or appointed politically, his spouse, relatives, and associates.
This set of people has acquired loans without collateral from 2007 to April 2018 from the Sierra Leone Commercial Bank. According to the bank's policy, loans that are not repaid for a period of 12 months are considered as loss and are written off as bad debts. He stated that the bank cannot go after assets of politically exposed persons, as there was no collateral to acquire the loans from the bank. This warranted questions from the Commissioner George Will on the conditions loans are acquired from the banks and ordered the prosecution to invite policy makers to have their day in court.
I want to know is how come the Bank of Sierra Leone is doing this kind of a thing. You give people money, and the Bank of Sierra Leone is Sierra Leone People's Bank. Then you take the money belonging to the taxpayers, you give to people, and then you come and tell me if his service is terminated, we don't know how to get it, or he can divert the money to another account, and then if his business fails. These days, business are failing. So by the time you give money, you must have an alternative means of getting the money even if the business fails. That's why we have what is called personal guarantee. Is that not so?
Yes, so
you have personal guarantee.
We are following the directives.
Okay, it's all right. All what I'm trying to say is that maybe later your people must come and explain these things. I am not. You are not the general, the managing director of the bank.
No.
You are not a policy maker. No. You don't formulate policy. No. And Mr. Mason, I need the policy makers of Sierra Leone Commercial Bank. In due course, they have to come and explain.
He reassured all of a balanced scale of justice in the interest of Sierra Leoneans. Commission 64 has been adjourned to Thursday, 21st February. Princess Gibson, SLBC News.
Counsel representing the persons of interest, Lansana Dumboya, has concluded the cross-examination of witness number 2, current Director General Amara Hydra Sharif of Commission 65 at the ongoing commissions of inquiry. Mariam Asuma was at Commission 65, presided over by Commissioner Bankole Thompson.
Counsel representing the persons of interest, Lansana Dumbuya, has temporarily concluded the cross-examination of witness number 2, current Director General of the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Food Security, Amara Haidara Sharif of Commission 65 at the ongoing commissions of inquiry. During his cross-examination, lawyer Dumbuya asked the witness about the vote controller in the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Food Security and his responsibilities. In his response, the witness said that the permanent secretary is the vote controller in the Ministry of Agriculture and that his responsibilities are to manage the resources in the ministry with a provisor. He added, inasmuch as the permanent secretary is the vote controller, all expenditures made in the ministry should be authorized by the minister, not the permanent secretary.
Inasmuch as the permanent secretary is the vote controller, all expenditure made in the ministry or by the permanent secretary should be authorized by the honorable ministers. The authority lies with the honorable minister, not the permanent secretary.
Are you using the word authorize or approve? I want us to be specific.
I can use approved if it's okay.
No, I do not want you to use approve is okay. This is not a joking matter.
I'm not joking.
When documents come from the permanent secretary to the ministers, if it is for approval, what is written there by the minister?
As the cross-examination continued, counsel representing the persons of interest found out that the witness, Amara Haidara Sharif, who is the present Director General of the Ministry of Agriculture, should have retired by now, but his service was extended.
This is from the Human Resource Management Office, Ministerial Building, George Street, Sierra Leone, 14 December 2018. Dear sir, request for extension of service in respect of Mr. Amara Haidara Sharif, Chief Agriculture Officer, Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, PIN code 140017.
So in other words, this letter specifically it was for extension of your service.
Of my service, correct.
Yes. Which means that your service ought to have terminated. It ought to have terminated.
When?
But somebody make a request, somebody makes a request, maybe the personnel officer or some other officers, but someone makes a request for your service to be extended. So this is the response to that letter.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Justice Bankole Thompson temporarily released the witness and thanked him for supporting the commission.
Once we start the process of justice, should be able to ensure that the machinery of justice turns well and works well. And whatever I can do after we adjourn today and to alleviate the hardship which council is experiencing, I will endeavor to do that in my conversation with the coordinator and the
Responding on the issue of transcripts, State Councillor Robert Kowa said, sometimes the transcripts can be late for the process to continue, but however asked his colleague to accommodate the present situation until the matter is resolved. The hearings were adjourned to Thursday, the 21st February 2019. SLBC News, Mariam Asuma reporting.
A high-level delegation from the International Finance Corporation and the World Bank has visited the Marampa iron ore site at Marampa to see how it has been operating after world market ore prices crashed in 2014. For 4 years, the Marampa iron ore mine has been shut after ore prices crashed and the Sierra Leone mining scale for a term of 25 years. Here's the report.
Sierra Leone Country Manager World Bank Gail Martin said since hot commissioning began at Sierra Leone mining, over 650 new jobs have been created, of which 90% are indigents of Potloko and Lontar. She said the workforce is set to increase to over 1,800 once mining operations enter into its second phase. Paramount Chief Koblo Queen II said mine's previous owners left unresolved over $1 million of surface rent to landowners. As a result, Sierra Leone Mining had to clear those debts to reaffirm its commitment to positive community support and engagement. He said the opening of the Sierra Leone Mining has and will continue to have a positive transformative impact on the chiefdom. Paramount Chief Koblo Queen said last month 5,000 families received bags of rice from the company, which is the largest ever donation of its kind to residents in Lontar. Chairperson of Sierra Leone Mining and Gerald Group, Craig Dean, said Marampa Blue is of high grade, and once Sierra Leone Mining is optimized for Phase 2, their goal is to make Sierra Leone's Marampa Blue a world-recognized premium iron ore brand. IFC country representative in Sierra Leone, Frank Agilore, explained that Sierra Leone mining is a good economic development that needs maximum support to send the right signal to foreign direct investors that it is back to business in Sierra Leone.
A 3-day session on Sierra Leone Youth Entrepreneurship and Employment Projects organized by the National Youth Commission in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth Affairs has started at the National Youth Commission Conference Hall. The campaign, which attracted members from Technical Vocational Institute and National Council for Technical Vocational Academy Awards, is aimed at popularizing and building the good image of TechVoc. Doreen Barry has the story.
The Sierra Leone Entrepreneurship and Employment Project is designed to change people's perception about the day-to-day activities of TechVoc. Over the years, technical vocational institutions have been able to empower and train youth with middle-level manpower skills, which adds value to their lives and the country's socio-economic development. According to stakeholders, though technical vocational institutions face neglect, students trained are mostly self-employed and create jobs for others in their communities. The Minister of Youth Affairs, Mohamed Oman Bangura, said that the project was designed to build on their image and change the mindsets of people about technical vocational institutions. TechVoc, he went on, is designed to help young people build and learn new skills so that their lives will be empowered and transformed. He said gone are the days when young people were perceived as perpetrators of violence and misused by politicians during elections. The minister disclosed that 15 car washes have been identified for support from the ministry to help transform the lives of the youth. The National Youth Commissioner, Golo Kata, said that the Sierra Leone Youth Entrepreneurship and Employment is at the pilot phase and the project is expected to be completed within the next 2 years, though another year has been added. He said that having a rebrand TechVoc is key and critical towards the development of the country and called for strong partnership and collaboration of TechVoc institutions that will lead to having a comprehensive policy. A representative from Evangelical Fellowship of Sierra Leone, Reverend Jonathan Titus Williams, spoke about efforts made by TechVoc over the years, having empowered thousands of youth on middle-level manpower and advanced skills. He said that TechVoc training has helped shape young people's lives and becoming self-employed and called for the availability of the requisite tools and support to TechVoc institutions so that more lives of youth can be transformed. Chairman, Parliamentary Committee on Youth, Honorable Abdul Kagbo, described education as a means of acquiring knowledge and a key tool for young people's development. He spoke of the need to support and strengthen TechVoc to have more young people trained.
The Sierra Leone Roads Authority, through government, has paid over 500 million loans to property-affected persons for the construction of a jetty, quarry and campyard in the Imperi Chiefdom, Bonth district. This is to give way for the construction of Bonth Municipal Township roads by the First Tricon Limited. Avuna Patrick Kamara was there.
According to Engineer James Yaya of the Sierra Leone Roads Authority, the payment is fulfillment of an agreement between the government and property owners to ensure the contractor have access to the materials they need to do their work. He thanked the people for their understanding in giving their property for the development of the country.
The main purpose of this meeting here is to effect compensation payment to property and affected persons for the rehabilitation of and construction of roads and jetties in the Bonth, Moyamba and Pujohun districts. So primarily it is doing with the link to Bonth.
It has been about 3 weeks since Police Northeast Region formed a crack squad. The squad was put together to strengthen police operations against crime in the region and facilitate their activities. But what impact has this new police tactics created? Well, from Makeni, Hassan Forekama reports.
The petition letter is from members of the two recognized ruling houses in Kamasondo. A member of the Kaba ruling house, who is also a signatory to the petition letter, Alpha Ibrahim Kaba, said they petitioned the massive increase in the number of taxpayers and tribal authorities lists in their chiefdom. Stakeholders at the meeting, the Kaba and the Kamara ruling houses, noted that such an increase is against the Malthusian theory on human population growth indexed, which says the population could only tend to double itself after 25 years. It is against.
According to Inspector Sanko, the formation of the squad was an initiative of the newly transferred AIG Ambrose Suvola to put both major and minor crimes across the region under control. He said the squad has been able to raid grey areas and communities where, according to sources, crimes are being masterminded, and in the effort, they were able to successfully arrest a substantial number of suspects who are presently under investigations.
We've sanitized the environment. Serious breakage or crime-related activities is something of the past, and we've now noticed that most of the place where these gangster boys or these clique boys used to hang out and discuss issues of breakages is something of the past. You can't see them there again. The entire environment in Makeni municipality and beyond is sanitized.
He said so far, the steps taken have deterred criminal activities mostly in major towns. The police media had expressed gratitude over the cooperation of members of the public, especially in the prompt approach of giving the police relevant information, which in most occasions have proven fruitful.
In fact, quite recently, about 13 of them were released by the AIG Northeast and Busovula in the presence of the Provincial Security Committee members, that is POSEC. On the humanitarian front, we look at the things that we arrested them for might have a minor face. So we decided to advise them for them to find a better livelihood to do other than to just hang out in the streets, pickpocketing, harassing people for their mobile phones here and there. They were cautioned by the POSEC members and asked or told them to find a better livelihood other than just doing this petty thieving around.
It said the work of the crack squad will continue on 24-hour basis across the Northeast region. For SLBC News, Hassan Forekama reporting for McKinney.
Kamasondo in Northwest District of Potloko are asking for a reassessment of the tribal authorities list before the conduct of paramount chieftaincy elections in their chiefdom. This is contained in a petition letter sent to the senior district officer in Potloko with copies to all stakeholders, including the Potloko District Council, the paramount chiefs, Resident Minister Northwest and Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. Hassan Booz has the details.
The petition letter is from members of the two recognized ruling houses in Kamasondo. A member of the Kaba ruling house, who is also a signatory to the petition letter, Alpha Ibrahim Kaba, said they petitioned the massive increase in the number of taxpayers and tribal authorities lists in their chiefdom. Stakeholders at the meeting, the Kaba and the Kamara ruling houses, noted that such an increase is against the Malthusian theory on human population growth index, which says the population could only tend to double itself after 25 years. It is against this backdrop that they are humbly asking for another revision exercise of the tribal authorities list to enhance free and fair elections in their chiefdom. Several other speakers, including Max Momodu Kamara of the Kamara ruling house, observed that many former tribal authorities have not been mentioned in the published Gazette of 14th February 2019. The list is flooded by underaged tribal authorities. Meanwhile, Pa Mohammed Kurari, who chaired the meeting, spoke about what they went through to de-amalgamate their chiefdom from Lokomasama. He said Kamasondo was reduced to the state of a mere section chieftaincy in 1916, and they are now ready to regain their real status. He therefore admonished all to ensure that the chieftaincy is limited to only those that are entitled to it, adding that there will be no elections until the right thing is done.
The Ministry of Information and Communications, Defense for Children International, and the Internet Watch Foundation have held a session where they discussed strategies in combating online child sexual abuse using reporting portal. The session, which brought together stakeholders in the ICT sector, was held at the Ministry of Information and Communications Conference Hall, UU Building, Freetown. Joseph Ture was there and now reports.
The internet is of tremendous help to the world nowadays, but many have taken another trend in using it negatively. Online child sexual abuse, among other vices, has been a serious issue which affects the well-being of children. Most African countries have weak legislation in regulating and fighting cyber-related crimes. Executive Director, Defense for Children International, Sierra Leone, Abdul Manaf Kemokai, stated that abuse against children is not limited to physical contact, but exposing children to online pornographic videos, which is another menace that must be urgently tackled. Mr. Kemokai highlighted some of the benefits children will get with the use of reporting portal through Internet Watch Foundation.
The child can be in Kailau and somebody takes pornographic image of that child and post it on website, a particular website. For as long as there is someone who can report what is happening, and there will be links that we share with people, for reporting. Once you report it, the International Watch Foundation will remove the image. And we can also locate the website and those who are managing it. So this information can be given to the law enforcement agencies, and the law enforcement agencies can also do investigation and also prosecute those involved.
Deputy Minister of Information and Communications, Solomon Jamiu, described the session as timely, especially when the government is working assiduously in mitigating sexual abuse against children. He noted that a nation that fails to protect children is one that neglects a brighter future. Mr. Jamiu stressed on the need to protect children from sexual abuse. Representative from Internet Watch Foundation, Valentina Pico, said her organization, since its establishment in 1996, has used technology to assess and remove hundreds of thousands of sexual abuse images of children online. Valentino Pico urged representatives from various institutions, including the government, to embrace reporting portal, noting that internet is a big source in the fight against sexual abuse of children. SLBC News, Joseph Toure, Freetown.
The Western Area National Park is a protected area, but still suffers from unregulated and illegal activities that challenge the rule of law. This is why the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Environment, the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, together with Conservation Society of Sierra Leone, are organizing the Land Use of Planning Conference for the Western Area National Park on Thursday, 21st February 2019. In the following interview, Harold Williams asked how the stakeholders would cooperate.
As a civil society organization, Conservation Society is particularly concerned with the biodiversity and safety of biodiversity. How can we maintain it within this country to benefit everybody in terms of the services it provides? So at this point, we have actually decided to work along with Ministry of Lands and Ministry of Agriculture in order to have a discussion forward.
Okay. Minister Kabia, why is it necessary for the Ministry of Lands to be involved at this point in time?
The Ministry of Lands, as we all know, has the mandate to actually survey, plan, and demarcate, allocate government land to the general public. In doing that, we also have a responsibility as an environment ministry to protect the forest. That is why we are tying with the Ministry of Agriculture and Conservation Society for Sierra Leone for us to ensure a sustainable, Western area forestry. A well-protected Western area forest. So we are in this because, one, for us to actually have the framework for the national land use planning, that in a sense will guide the process for the Ministry of Lands, the Ministry of Agriculture to actually show the boundaries in which the forest should be demarcated from the land that we should use.
Mr. Sise, are you ready for the land use conference tomorrow?
Yes, we are quite ready. We have engaged all the stakeholders, people, they are being invited, and we have a place already at Hill Valley Hotel, which the workshop is supposed to start tomorrow and continue on to Friday.
Okay. Mr. J.D. Bremer, what is the role of the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry in this land use planning endeavor?
Well, our role guides our mandate as at 1988 Forestry Act, which mandated us that Forestry Division has the mandate to protect the entire ecosystems, be it aquatic or terrestrial habitat. So we collaborate with actors in environmental protection to make sure that they apply best practices in sustainable land use management. That is why the Forestry Department, we have the research unit now, we have the community-based forest management, so that we collaborate with actors like Conservation Society and the Ministry of Land. We maintain and then protect the ecosystem. And then there are certain pristine areas we maintain. But from previously, you can see the Western Area Peninsula National Park. which is their focus now, for which this land use conference is being planned for tomorrow. We are collaborating with them to express our mandate and stand firm that our role is to protect the ecosystem, so that to promote biodiversity. And that is why we are even collaborating with the Tourism Ministry, Ministry of Tourism and Agriculture. There is strong collaborative effort to promote ecotourism, and Western area will be part of our priority areas.
Bread is one of the locally produced food that is mostly consumed by most Sierra Leoneans because it is accessible and affordable. Recently, there has been a shortage of the country's locally produced bread, which has been a concern to those who buy locally baked bread. The reason for this, according to bakers, is because the cost of imported flour has doubled. Cynthia Kamara takes up the story.
The importance of bread to many people, including families and school-going children, can't be underestimated. It has been an alternative food alongside cassava and rice, which is the country's staple food. We visited one of the popular bakeries in the country, and people who went to buy bread expressed their frustration over the current issue.
It's news to me. I never knew there was shortage. I'm just checking in for some bread, and they say I must come at 6. I never knew there was already a shortage from yesterday.
One of the marketing assistants at PC & Sons, who chose to be called Danny, explained some of the reasons he thinks are the causes for the increase in the price of flour, which resulted to the shortage of bread.
The increase of price is from the overseas. Actually, it's not from the importers or from the retailers. It has been almost 2 months now that the price has went up in the overseas, especially a country like Turkey, where we are bringing our flours from. And we have been trying to tell our customers from last 2 months the prices are going to go up, but we had lots of stuff, lots of flour in our storage, so we are continuing to serve them at the same price. But as soon as we have got the new containers from down Wataki, we have seen the prices went up, and at that point we are selling at 290 for now.
Some people at PZ who went to buy bread from a bread retailer explained about the current increase they experience in the cost of bread.
5,000.
Now that I've seen the bread, the price have increased. Before, we used to buy the bread 5,000 per packet. Today it's 7,000. Some of us can afford, but it's for those that cannot afford it. We are appealing to the government to please help concerning the price of bread. We want them to reduce the price of flour so that we can buy bread at a normal cost.
We want to reduce the cost of flour.
Those who have got the stock, the flour, who have got it, that have stock, they are the ones that have increased the price of flour. That's what I understand. So with that increase, it's bound. Those who are baking, the bakers, they say the price is too exorbitant. That will increase. We only hope that, with the intervention of the Ministry of Trade, the price will normalize again.
Many are optimistic that the situation will be stabilized as bread is vital for consumption in the country. Cynthia Kamara, SLBC.
The Sierra Leone Grammar School Leadership Award Trust has been launched with the theme Empowering Young Leaders for Lifelong Trust and Responsibility. The Leadership Trust Award aims to promote and foster an enabling environment for students of the Sierra Leone Grammar School. The launching ceremony was held at the Sierra Leone Grammar School, Python Building, Moritown. Esther Marie Samura has more.
To launch and to declare open the Sierra Leone Grammar School Leadership Award Trust.
That was Dr. Modupe Tilopias officially launching the Sierra Leone Grammar School Leadership Award Trust, which is expected to capacitate pupils of the school at an early age in attaining their secondary school career. This initiative is pioneered by an old boy of the school, Dr. Eugene Terry, residing in the United States. The Leadership Trust will target scholarship programs, distributions of learning materials, and will also give financial and established a leadership prize to be awarded for prize-winning essays by the Sierra Leone Grammar School pupils. In his keynote address, Modupe Tilopias commended the former principal, Akiwande Lashite, for maintaining the standards of the school, attributing it to integrity, courage, vision, and passion. He encourages the pupils to make sensitive choices in becoming exemplary leaders.
All of us are leaders. We don't get a choice about that. Let me make sure you understand this clear. This is very clear. The first person you lead is yourself. So you are a leader. Whether you want to be, like to be, you are a leader. The only choice you get to make is whether you are a good leader or a bad leader. That's the only choice you have. And the choice is in being a good leader is for you to demonstrate integrity, courage, vision, and passion. You see, those values are very much aligned with the values of the trust, which you've heard before. Citizenship is about seeking the interest of others.
Some pupils express gratitude for the establishment of the trust.
It's a lot, and one word for it, I'm hopeful for the country, because everything about the program is about raising the next generation of good leaders, and which is a good thing. And I hope to learn everything. The program will be starting next month, March, and I hope to learn everything it can offer.
In our school, we are known for being leaders of different organizations around, and us, the generations coming up, we believe that we are to lead the other ones behind us. So as leaders, they have taught us that we must be responsible, we must have integrity, passion, and the drive for leadership.
The Leadership Skills Development Program will consist of debating and essay writing competitions, good governance workshops, among others. Esther Marie Samoa, SLBC.
The President and Chief Executive Officer of International Africa Museum, Michael Bolwer-Moore, has told President Bio that there is need for another museum to be established in Freetown to be able to create the link between African Americans, especially those who originated from Sierra Leone. He made the statement during a courtesy call on President Bio at State Lodge at Hill Station in Freetown. The museum, according to the delegation, will build a bridge between the two generations and also record history of the past. Hawa Mosiri has the story.
The Chief Executive Officer, Michael Bolwer, stated that before coming to Sierra Leone, he did a DNA test which shows that he is a Sierra Leonean and hails from Tayamakori Chiefdom, Wayamba District. They have also visited the Bones Island, one of the touristic sites, which also has a history of the slave trade.
You know, like many African Americans, my whole life I've yearned to know more about where I came from. And DNA science is now providing that opportunity. And so for me, to come here, not only under the auspices of building this museum, but personally to have identified my Sierra Leonean connection, my Mende connection, and to come and to be just so warmly received and greeted and embraced by the country, everyone that I've been involved with, it's just been overwhelming. So we're deeply moved. We're very excited about the potential. The mayor has bent over backward, and her team, council, have bent over backwards to facilitate this happen. So we're just very, very grateful and glad to be here.
According to the mayor of the Freetown City Council, Ivana Kisoya, the delegation was very pleased to visit these places to get first-hand information about the Bones Island, especially which has so much to do with the slave trade. They also visited Zion Maroon Church, the first church in Sierra Leone at Shaka Stevens Street in Freetown. She informed President Julius Maada Bio that the delegation's visit to the country is moreover to meet with different sectors in the transformation of Freetown, as the president has recently launched the project.
And, you know, I think we're used to our city, right? We take so many things for granted, but the choir sang Amazing Grace and it was tears again. You know, I was thinking, we have to work on this. We really have something special, sir. We do. And we're excited. We're excited at the possibility that our new building provides. Because the City Council is moving into the new structure, the old building that we're in now, which was actually a slave dungeon, and still has the original facade from the 1800s and the slave steps next to it, begins to give us the idea of, you know, where we could house almost a satellite is what I'm hoping. I know we've got a long way to go, but I'm saying to them, if we could potentially actually have the museum here be legally, transactionally a part of the museum in Charleston, so almost like a wing of the museum in Charleston, that automatically gives us a profile globally.
President Julius Maada Bio commended the CEO and team for the vision and plan in transforming the capital city. Though history has separated them, but there is the need to come together in terms of connecting again to make sure that African Americans know their roots.
And we have this connection. We have to relive it. We have to make it come alive again, you know. And so that is where I appreciate your effort. So when she told me you were in town, I said, although this is a holiday, I will make the effort at least to meet you. Because sometime later, maybe working with the city, the tourism, we want to really reactivate, bring life back into this relationship, connect back to our brothers and sisters in diaspora, and see how we can actually live a different life, you know, knowing that like you traced your background here, and see what we can do to make you feel at home, come back and feel at home.
President Bio appealed to the CEO of International African Museum to do as much as they can to bring back home African Americans that are Sierra Leoneans. He said the history from the slave trade should be documented for future generations.
We live in the modern world. Sometimes we lose track of the things, you know. We want to imagine what really happened. You can read and read and read, but when you see it, it's a totally different feeling. And so I can only imagine what sort of emotions we are invoked by you going out there. And I want our brothers and sisters to come and share that, because that will inform the children, that will inform you all, that we've had to go through quite a lot. And what we need to do now to maybe build a bridge back and see how we can leverage, you know, yes, that linkage. So those are things that we have to think about, not just it existing as a museum, but what can we do to compensate for the past.
The delegation from Charleston has already left the city to put measures in place for the transformation of Freetown. SLBC TV News are in Freetown. How must be reporting.
And now for some African news. The Rwandan government wants the parliament to pass a bill banning single-use plastics in the country to protect environment. The draft bill suggests a 2-year moratorium for companies to stop manufacturing single-use plastics. Plastics were first banned in Rwanda back in 2018, but some plastics material are still used, including mineral water and juice bottles, straws in bars and hotels, and single-use dishes. The government wants to take a further move to ban those too. A bill will be sent to Parliament for a vote. Amnesty International is demanding the immediate release of Somali poet who has been detained in the self-declared Republic of Somaliland. Abdul Rahman Abiz recited poems, critical poems of the government at a hotel in Somaliland capital, Hargeisa. Amnesty says authorities should focus on investigating the mistreatment Mr. Abiz described in his poem instead of harassing critics. the government has not responded to requests for comments. If found guilty, Mr. Abbas could face 3 years in prison. Opposition parties in Zambia say they are reporting the country's president, Edgar Lungu, and several governing party officials to the International Criminal Court in The Hague for instigating political violence. At a press conference in the capital, Lusaka, 10 opposition politicians accused President Lungu and Zambia's Home Officials Minister Stefan Kampogo of ordering militants to attack the opposition during recent by-election campaigns. No one from the governing party has responded to the allegations. And now in the world of sports, we join Esther Marie Samora.
It's a hearty welcome to Sports Update on Newshour. In this edition, Africell Mobile Company has officially declared its sponsorship to Mighty Blackpool football team. As part of its sponsorship deal, 150 million, 2 sets of jerseys were given to the club. The event took place at the Africell headquarters, Wilberforce in Freetown. Here is the report. Mighty Blackpool football team, also known as T-Stars, is known all over the country. They have been crowned champions several times since its inception. The team has been struggling in the ongoing Premier League, and recently the Mighty Blackpool executive asked the head coach Abu Sanko to step aside. The team has only secured 4 points in the ongoing Premier League after playing 4 matches so far. As part of its corporate social responsibility, Africell has therefore given support to the club as its sponsors for this year's Premier League. John Conte, station manager of African Independent Radio, said this has been part of their flagship program supporting sports, especially football teams, citing that they have supported other clubs in promoting sport development in Sierra Leone.
I mean, it's in support of sports, it's in support of football, it's in support of healthy living. But you know, if you are looking for a team in the Western area that is quite popular, that is with a rich pedigree, that is with a rich history, you would have to talk about, you know, Mighty Blackpool. That is why we're supporting them. We're offering them a cash package in sponsorship. We're offering them 2 sets of jerseys, both home and away.
Secretary General of Mighty Blackpool Football Club, Tamba Emmanuel Bundo, appreciated the timely support from Africell, noting that they are focused in moving the club forward with maximum support given to the players.
It's a laudable venture, as I initially stated, and we appreciate them so very much that they've taken the steps in ensuring they support football. And I did say that we are looking at it from 2 approaches. 1, for the love of the football. 2, again, for calling and considering Blackpool, as the name implies, mighty, to sponsor them for this particular 2019 Premier League season.
He called on all to come on board in promoting Mighty Blackpool. Esther Marie Samoa, SLBC. Well, Mighty Blackpool football team have already secured another victory after they defeated Port Authority by a goal to nil at the Siaka Stevens Stadium today. Another result in the Premier League matches, Central Parade defeated Freetown City Council Football Club by a goal to nil at their Tugamini complex. An Antidox football team had a goalless draw with the Republic of Sierra Armed Forces FC at the Apple School in Freetown. That's all for sports in this edition of News. I am Esther Marie Samoa. Thanks for watching.
Many thanks there to Esther. To end the news, the main points again. the newly constituted Board of Trustees, SLBC, has held a maiden meeting with management and staff of the corporation. Commissioner Bilbert George Will has ordered the prosecution to invite policymakers of the Sierra Leone Commercial Bank to the Commissions of Inquiry, and a 3-day session on Sierra Leone Youth Entrepreneurship and Employment Project has started at the National Youth Commission Conference Hall. That's all in this edition of the news. I am Zolatu Hamid. Thanks for watching. Good night.